Broadcasting from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, to around the globe. You're listening to Shark Bite Biz, your exclusive place for business strategy, sales, marketing, and tech in the roaring 20s. And now, here's your host, David Strausser.
And welcome to another episode of Shark Bite Biz. Once again, I'm your host, David Strausser, and we have a jam-packed episode again for you all today. Health is a topic that is in front of everybody's mind right now. Many are working from home, being stagnant at a desk all day, and staying healthy is hard with gyms being closed, and most of the health-centric places that you used to go to are completely closed or extremely limited. Today's guest is a nutritional health coach and part of a small business owner. We're going to learn a couple things today about how to be nutritionally healthy, as well as how our guest started digitally transforming her nutritional business. So at my day job with Vision 33, we do everything remote right now. In fact, a big not so secret is that the entire region that I manage, from myself to every single employee, works remote and always has, despite having offices throughout the region. Due to that, I try to push them with reinforcing healthy habits all the time. In fact, our company, once everybody started working remote company-wide, we went as far as setting up daily stretching routines that essentially happens a couple different times a day around the globe, depending what time zone you're in, just to ensure that our employees are staying at least somewhat active. You have to remember, a big part of your mental fitness is also your physical fitness. So who is today's guest? Well, glad you asked. Let me tell you. Jess Tarleton is a nutritional health coach. She has been helping people achieve their health goals since 2009. Jess has worked with thousands of men and women over the last decade. She specializes in weight loss and has witnessed hundreds of individuals change the quality of their life, all through diet and mindset changes. So without further delay, let's bring Jess on in here.
Health and lifestyle.
Hey Jess, welcome to Shark Bite Biz. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to be a guest on your show today.
Oh, no problem. So I don't know if you watch the show or not, but we have a really good tradition here. Very first question, it's always going to be a softball lob right to you, okay? You ready?
I'm ready.
Tell us about your background, your experience. Who are you, and why should people listen to you?
So my name is Jessica Tarleton. I am a nutritional health coach. I have my certification from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, which is the largest nutrition school in the world. It happens to be located in New York City. I have gotten to where I am basically from my own personal journey. I didn't start, I had a career change, 10 years into my career. I have a college degree in funeral home management and was a funeral director for several years. And then I got pregnant.
That's quite the change.
I
mean, I've heard a lot of school teachers, things like that get into then health coaching, fitness coaching, but not a funeral director. That's a first for me.
Well, my job started, I worked in Harrisburg at a funeral home. My boss at the time, her and I started working out together. She started introducing me to real food and healthy food. I think I was like 30 years old when the first time I had fresh green beans, because I was brought up on canned green beans. I was brought up on the standard.
Difference, right?
Oh yeah, huge difference. Not even comparable. I was brought up, I was born in 1980, so I was brought up on the standard American diet, and as a child, I had a whole host of symptoms and issues. At a young age, I was on medication for digestive issues. I was on medication for asthma and allergies. This I carried with me through my teenage years into my 20s. A lot of my symptoms only got worse once I turned 21 and I was legally able to add alcohol to that standard American diet. And coming from Schuylkill County, you know how that goes.
Oh, yeah. Between Yingling and just sugary, mixed drinks.
Oh, yeah.
They're the worst. They're one of the biggest things I cut out of my diet on my weight loss journey.
Yeah. So once I met my boss then at the funeral home, and she introduced me also to chiropractic care, who looked more for the root cause of issues. It really got me, thinking differently, living my lifestyle differently. Fast forward a little bit, I met my husband. We had our first set of twins, and
Wow.
I kind of went back when I got pregnant to my old eating ways, and a lot of my symptoms that I dealt with in my 20s started to come back because I wasn't having allergies quite as my asthma hadn't needed an inhaler for several years. And then I was like, well, my body's changing. I'm pregnant with twins, but really it was what I was eating. But it took me many years now to look back and see that. So when I went back to work at the funeral home, my position was no longer available for me. So I had given my 2-week notice and immediately was offered a job as a weight loss consultant at a weight loss center in Harrisburg. Trimline Weight Loss Center. So
being able to find a position in a totally different career that quick, that must have been quite the change.
It was. I came home from work and said to my husband, I just gave my 2-week notice, didn't even discuss it with him. And the next day I was offered this position. So it's almost like, one door had to close before an even greater door open. And at the time, I knew nothing about health. I knew nothing about food, and I was 50 pounds overweight at the time. And, so I started following that diet that Trimline Weight Loss Centers taught. I started teaching it and living it, and it became my lifestyle. And not only did I lose 50 pounds on the program, but now my digestive issues fixed themselves. No more seasonal allergies, no more asthma. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is amazing what the human body can do once we basically get out of its way and we start nourishing it and feeding it the foods that it needs.
Right. So, get away from the processed foods, all that junk stuff, go with the fresh stuff, fresh vegetables, get away from the canned stuff. It's really, I went through a similar transformation and I saw that with my body, and it is a night and day difference how the body reacts compared to eating all that processed prepared foods that you find in the frozen section of the grocery stores compared to making everything fresh at home.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Fast forward, everything went well. I was in my position at Trimline for 7 years. We opened up 4 different weight loss centers in the time that I was there. So we were just growing within Central PA. But I felt that I needed more. I wanted more. I could only help people so far based on my counseling degree that I had as a funeral director. It's crazy how the two actually
I'm sorry. I got to stop you right there. I've never thought about that, but it makes so much sense. As a funeral director, you probably should have a counseling degree, right?
Yeah.
So I guess there is a lot more crossover than I had originally imagined. There's a lot of people that listen to this program. They've changed careers midway through their lives. They got college degrees, they did it, and they're like, I like this, but maybe it was just a hobby. It wasn't my true passion. And they've changed careers based upon some similarities. And here's a perfect example of that. That's amazing. Congrats on that transition. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was the universe. I had no idea it was happening as it was happening. But yeah, in my college degree, I had a lot of courses on listening skills, on empathy, and it really helped when helping people make lifestyle changes. That's a huge change, and change is scary. So being able to, completely understand where they were coming from, because I too was on that journey. So it was really neat to be able to work with people as I was going through the process myself. That's when I found IIN, and that's when I started my certification toward being a health coach. And that's
totally amazing. Totally amazing. And this is one of the reasons why I love bringing people like you on here, because it's just a testimonial that you can always change your mind. You can be whatever you want to be. If you have business goals, so many people listening, they're entrepreneurs, they're innovators, and you can shift. I mean, it still just blows my mind listening to you. funeral director to health fitness guru, essentially, that there's so much more in common there. And you figured it out. You went, you got all the steps that you had to do, and now you're pretty successful with it, right?
Yeah, the great thing is I was still commuting. I was taking online courses, working on my certification, and it was then that I learned about functional medicine. Now, when it comes to functional medicine, conventional medicine tells you what's wrong. So when we have issues, we go see our family doctor, they do labs, and they diagnose us and tell us what's wrong. For functional medicine, they do functional labs, functional testings, and they tell you the idea behind it is to find the why. Well, why is this happening? What is the root cause of this? Right. So once I started learning about functional medicine, I was like, wow, like this is what I went through when I began my healing journey.
We go through a lot of that. We go through a lot of that here on the channel. We just had an episode, like, for example, with Shiny Unsaw, who does NLP. And I think a lot of the people that listen to that with sales, they're like, holy cow, I do NLP during my sales cycle, and you didn't even realize it. That's another reason why bringing people like you on here really enlightens people, because I don't think they realize how much of the good habits and good techniques they already have built in, that they're already doing it. And it's really just utilizing somebody like you to kind of tweak that to help them get it to the next level. You think that's an accurate assessment?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Within 3 months of me receiving my certification, I started working with a functional medicine practitioner who is only 2 miles away from my home, so no more commute.
Oh, that's great.
Working in the area that like my heart is, working with his patients. So as he would bring his patients in, I would be their health coach, and I would coach them on lifestyle and dietary guidelines and lifestyle guidelines. And what we eat is very important. We are what we eat. We've been told that.
Oh, yeah.
But it's more than that. We have to understand how important sleep is. We have to understand how important proper hydration is. The importance of learning to handle stress. Stress is always going to be in our life. And if we are in a constant fight or flight, a constant parasympathetic state, that leads to chronic diseases. People kind of laugh it off. But that's something that we can't be in a relaxed state if we're in a stress state. So teaching people, creating awarenesses and learning to be present in this moment. Some of the things that I work with people and help coach them through, and coach them on creating a new lifestyle, and we only, it's our habit, it's our routine. We're on autopilot for most of the day, especially if we're in that job that we've all been in before, that we just get up and go through the motions and we're good at it, but we get it done. So,
and that's part of the reason why I had actually wanted to bring you on to chat with you, because we talked offline just a few weeks ago. We had an episode that was about health and fitness, and it ended up being extremely popular here on the channel. And that's why I wanted to bring you on as a good follow-up to that, because people's lives right now, they're turned upside down. In February, you were going to an office, your kids were going to school. Since then, we've had this global pandemic. You're working from home now. For some people like me, I love it. I will never go to an office again. Okay. I put that stake in the ground. But for other people, it actually adds a lot more stress into their life. In addition to working from home, having a place to be able to work from home, now they have their kids here all day. They can't go to daycare or school, wherever they were. Okay. They have to teach their kids, take care of their kids. I mean, that's adding an abnormal amount of stress in a compact period into the lives of many adults today. What kind of impact is that having on our health as a society, as an individual? What do you think?
Oh, great impact. I mean, I follow you. You talked about the 15-pound gain or the 20-pound gain. I mean, not only is impacting weight gain, but then weight gain adds added stress. When it comes to eating wrong foods, like you talked about, canned and processed fast foods, they're very inflammatory. Inflammation is the root of all disease. Since we got put into lockdown and we were forced to change our ways, at that point, I took a leap of faith. Prior to that, I was probably about 50% online, 50% in person. I have only ever worked one-on-one with people. So decided, I'm gonna take a leap of faith here. I'm gonna put together a group. So not only do they have my support, but now they have the power of the community, the power of others around them. Created a private Facebook group for people that decided to be a part of this group. We would have weekly Zoom meetings, talk about our struggles, share our wins. And every week I covered a different topic, as we discussed before, like sleep and stress and mindset, goal setting. And it took off. So grateful to be where I am. I'm 100% online. No more one-on-one. Everything is group. And if I would have talked to you 6 months ago, I never would saying the things that
that's where you, as a person, business, whatever, you've essentially done a digital transformation that was forced by the pandemic. And that's something a lot of our listeners that are working at these businesses or owning businesses have faced with too. That in and of itself, you had to change how you did business in mid-March. Okay, out of necessity, just to be able to survive. That's a huge amount of stress. I know for us, it caused me to lose many hours of sleep over the night. And that all takes a toll on your productivity and your health in the bottom line, right?
Oh, yeah. To kick off my first group, again, never having any group experience, I had 96 people enroll for my first group.
Wow.
So I was forced. I was like, okay, bring it. I'm here. Build it and they will come. And they totally came. So out of those 96
And I've seen a lot of your videos, whether it's the challenges that you do or some of the other videos that you do. And there's a lot of people that'll like them, comment. It's not like you're just posting up there to yourself. You get a lot of interaction because there's a lot of people that are searching for this type of advice during this time. They're confused. They don't know what to do. And that's where I think a strong leader like you in some of these areas really comes into play to help them during these hard times, oftentimes going through some of the same struggles. Like, for example, right now, I guess it's better right now. But if you were thinking back in March, April, maybe early May, if you're somebody who traditionally eats healthy, we make 90% of the food that we eat in our house is going to be made from scratch. My wife is Peruvian, and it's just like, I tell her, like, hey, honey, they sell that in a can, right? You can just, what? They sell it in a can? That's disgusting. And it's like, okay, do it from a hand if you want. It tastes better anyways. But we couldn't get a lot of those ingredients, stuff like that. Our family, and that's part of the reasons why when you saw me talking about like the quarantine, I did 20, but I think most people probably had 15, is because the healthy eating habits I had, drinking I'm a huge Premier Protein shake fan. I do low carb / sometimes keto diet. I wasn't able to get the supply. So it came down to, for about 2-3 weeks, I think I was eating canned soups and stuff like that I traditionally don't eat. This pandemic, even if you want to eat healthy, has had some negative impacts that you just can't avoid, I think, sometimes. Do you find that to be the case, or do you think I'm making excuses?
A little of both.
I was hoping you justify my weight gain.
I'm right there. I packed on 10 pounds during the from March through May. My husband decided to play Betty Crocker, and he wanted to be baking something new every week. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is my crack. You can't be bringing making homemade sugary deliciousness.
That's why nobody could buy yeast, because your husband was using it all for his baking.
Probably. But another great thing that happened is that because when I would go to the grocery store in March and April and May and see that there's a limit to the amount of meat that I can purchase, there was shortage of beef, like the prices were skyrocketing. It forced me to find a local butcher. So now I get all my meat from a butcher that's 5 miles from my home. It then pushed me to sign up. It pushed me to sign up for the local CSA. And if you're not familiar with community share agriculture, so you purchase a portion of from a local farmer. So now I get all my vegetables from farmers.
Supporting the local communities, getting those mom and pop butchers and farmers, helping them out, especially during times like these. They may have sold to restaurants and now they don't sell what they were selling last year because of what's going on. So any way we can help out those local communities, it's always a great thing. I guess another question I have for you is about you and your program. And I mean, I'll be honest, there's a billion different programs out there: health, fitness, eating healthy, all things like that. So let's focus in on this. What makes you different? What is unique about your program and how you run it?
Yeah, that's a good question. And, to start off, there are dietary theories because no two bodies are the same. So one thing that works for one person isn't necessarily going to work for another person. What separates me from others is I have that one-on-one component in regards to if you're in a point that you hit a wall and you're really struggling, you and I are going to hop on a personal call together. We're going to work through that speed bump, because when it comes to making lifestyle changes, dietary changes, weight loss, whatever it is you're looking for, there are plateaus. And I like to just look at them as speed bumps. They slow us down. And sometimes we need to work one-on-one with that. But also you have the community. You have group support. And group support is amazing. In addition to that, you're not, the weight loss is bonus. Anybody that goes through my program, they all sign. I would say 85% of the people that join my program do it for weight loss. And within 2 weeks, they're telling me, like, I've come off my diabetes medication. I've lowered my blood pressure medicine. My doctor took me off my cholesterol medication. So by removing certain foods and certain triggers for a short period of time, they're allowing their bodies to start to heal. They're getting to places that they never thought they would be. Constantly
can I here, if you want with that, I'll just give my own little personal testimony. When I got up to, I don't remember, it was like 320, 330, 340, maybe as high as 350. I was kind of afraid to get on the scale at some of those points. I mean, the life that I had back then, I needed to sleep 12 hours a day. I had no energy really to do anything. I was on a crap ton of medications. And then I didn't want to get off of my chair. I didn't want to get off of my couch. My life, thinking about how it was then until I lost the 120, 140, 150 pounds to get where I'm at now, it's night and day difference. So, I mean, you find validity in that. It sounds like that's essentially rounding up to what you've been saying, correct?
Oh my gosh, yeah. And, witnessing. I get to sit on the other side of the screen and transformations. I mean, I get goosebumps telling you right now, watching people go from week one as the biggest skeptic. I've done everything. I've failed at everything, to just week 3. A woman said to me, I'm on day 20 and I don't even feel like I'm on a diet. Like, that was so heartwarming. She on my call today. Another person,
oh yeah, that's amazing.
My sleep is better. My heart rate is 16 beats per minute lower. You know how much how much less stress that is on your body? No wonder why his sleep is better. And when we have good quality sleep, it then pours out into the rest of our life. So just being a part of people's journey and coaching them toward a much better quality of life is amazing. It's
That's got to
wonderful.
be very satisfying.
So satisfying. It's amazing. I wholeheartedly, absolutely love what I do. I too struggle, and there's no such thing as perfection. We're always focusing on progress,
Right.
but my clients and my audience, so to speak, that's my accountability. That's what helps keep me on track, because I feel that, I'm setting an example for others that they look up to. So it makes
Right.
my choices a lot easier at many times.
Oh no, that's great. And I think no matter what you do, having that accountability for your customers, you are the accountability. But for you personally, your customers are your accountability, because you can't be a hypocrite and be successful, whether you're in health and fitness or sales and business like I am. I mean, it turns out to be the same thing. You have to have that accountability. If you are hypocritical, yeah, you might be able, what is it? Like, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, or whatever it is, something like that. I mean, that really comes out to be true. You have to have that accountability and really just live to your fullest. Running short on time, I've got two really easy final questions, and then we'll ask you about how people can get in touch with you. The first one is, we've talked about sleep a number of times. For an average adult, put all the weird health issues that's, me or other people may have aside, for an average adult, how many hours a night rest should they typically have?
My recommendation is 7 to 9 hours, but
7 to 9 hours. Damn.
7 to 9. So on average, 8 hours. And I get people all the time. Oh no, that's not me. I can run off of 4 hours of sleep. Well, you're a human being, so human beings need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. It doesn't matter what we've done, what we've trained, how we can function. Sleep is essential. Right. Is so important. The quality of our sleep is very important as well.
So then the final question we have is another topic that has been mentioned a few times here, is how much water to drink. What is the recommended amount?
Half of your body weight in ounces of water per day. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you should drink 100.
You're making me do math. 100 ounces of water.
If you're 200
now,
pounds.
One fun area of discussion between my wife and me is, I've got to admit, I'm not a fan of just drinking regular tap water. I'll drink something, I think, like Aquafina. I think it tastes good, but tap water, even with the filters we have, I'm not a huge fan. I think it tastes funny. So I've got to go the flavored water route, but I still use the tap water to make it, but it's a hidden flavor. So I'm a huge fan of Crystal Light Fruit Punch, for example. Does that count as water, or am I eliminated?
No. So your goal, and it's not something that you can wake up and do overnight. But the goal, I set all my clients up with this, is half your body weight of pure filtered water per day. That does not include your Crystal Light or your coffee or your tea or your diet sodas. That does not include.
I'm in such a bad place. So I wouldn't count diet soda. I would eliminate diet soda, because the carbonation does things to your stomach, expands it, stuff like that, from my understanding. But I am going to fight tooth and nail for coffee and Crystal Light. I'm sorry.
Oh, you can still have it. You can still have coffee and Crystal Light. Yeah. It just doesn't count towards your water goal. So when it comes to things like Crystal Light and some other sweetened drinks that are 0 calorie, just know that you're not treating your body. Those sweeteners still trigger sugar and carb craving. Our bodies,
and there's a lot of science coming out around that right now too.
Yeah, our body still has to produce insulin to metabolize it. So, it's important to know that nothing at all can ever replace water. Water is essential. 75% of Americans are chronically dehydrated. And when we are dehydrated, we have symptoms like brain fog, fatigue, tiredness, dry mouth, some other things that include just sluggishness. And So it's
Oh, yeah.
amazing how these are common for most people. Most people, they are common symptoms that it's just they contributed to getting old. Well, no, you're not. You're
Can't
fine.
you
You're
drink?
dehydrated. Oh, it's amazing. Like I don't even need
Yeah.
lotion anymore. My fingers would crack all the time in between my cuticle and nail. That doesn't happen anymore.
Oh,
I tell you, water
that's
is the
great.
fountain. It'll take away your wrinkles.
Totally understand. And that's some really, really good advice that you just gave us. So I wanted to thank you so much for coming on here to Shark Bite Biz. A lot of people out there, getting the word out, giving them some ideas and some guidance as far as how to maintain eating healthy and sleeping well, drinking water, all those good tips. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
So you can check out my website at www.groupreset.com. And with that website, you can find my email address. If you had any questions, you can then email me any questions that you have.
Okay, that's perfect. Do you have any final words?
That's it. Thank you so
I think
much.
we covered everything.
I can't believe you threw water in. That's my absolute favorite all-time topic. I'll talk about days on it. Wonderful.
Not many people are like, I'll talk about water for days. Hey, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure having you, and we will definitely be inviting you back post-pandemic so that we can talk about how everything's coming along. And yeah, thank you again for coming on.
Perfect. Thank you.
Wow, that was such a fun and informational conversation. It's funny. I shot Jess a message just the other day saying, hey, look, your episode's about to publish finally. Yeah. There's a backlog with her episodes, I don't record an interview and put it out. There's about a 3-4 week delay right now because so many people are wanting to be on this podcast. And her response was, thanks. And then she immediately asked me, but how much water have you drank today? And really emphasized clear water. That disqualified my coffee and my Crystal Light, both of which I have right here in front of me. I won't lie. I can't do the clear water. I do not drink as much plain clear water as I should, but that's on me, and that is something I'm aware of, and I'm also trying to make better. But you should drink clear water because what she is talking about is extremely important. Staying healthy during these work from home and quarantine type times really needs to be your top priority, as you can really do a lot of damage to your body in a short amount of time. As I've mentioned a couple episodes ago, and probably on this episode, I did gain about 20 pounds during the first 6 to 8 weeks of quarantine. Thankfully, I was able to lose that relatively easily and quickly once I realized, oh, wow, my jackets aren't fitting anymore. So I put an action plan in place, dropped the pounds. Now I've taken a little break from the harsh keto diet, and I'm about to start another round to try to get down 10 more. So wish me luck on that. That's going to be fun. But I tell you what, the more weight I lose, the better I feel, the more energetic I am, the more I'm able to do. And that translates into me being a better employee because I'm able to do more at work. I'm able to do it happier, better, faster because I am healthy. I also find it fascinating how Jess was able to transform her business digitally and do everything online. As she stated, this is something that she herself would have never believed. But out of necessity, she ended up having to transform her business digitally. And because of what she did, she can now accept clients globally, which is pretty awesome. Instead of just being stuck to a small local physical territory, because she digitally transformed and is doing everything online, she is able to accept customers now from anywhere. And that's pretty awesome. And that also is kind of the same story that we've been hearing again and again and again. And that is that the business owners are using this downtime of the pandemic to really reevaluate how they do business, how they operate their business, their branding, pretty much everything from A to Z. And she's really a testament to the fact that if she can digitally transform, anybody can digitally transform. This was a fun video with some great conversation. What do you think? How have you stayed healthy during quarantine? Leave a comment down below and give us your healthy routines. As always, if you value this content, please like, comment, subscribe. But if you really, really want to help us, please make sure you share this video and help get the word out. So if you have a good business story to tell and you want to talk about how your business pivoted during quarantine, please shoot me an email, david@sharkbitebiz.com. Thank you all for watching this, and I'll see you again the next episode.
Thank you for listening to Shark Bite Biz. We hope you got some insightful info from this podcast. Be sure to subscribe to us through your favorite podcast app and visit us on the web at www.sharkbitebiz.com. How has business changed for you in the 20s? Email us at podcast@sharkbitebiz.com so you can join us and share your story.